June 8th. Nice to meet you here. Grab a coffee and let's get smarter together. Today, I want to concentrate on the state. According to international law, we speak of a state once three elements are coming together: a permanent population, a defined territory, and sovereignty. Sovereignty here means that a government possesses full control over affairs within the totality of a territory. It is the only power, the government, allowed to use violence without punishment or to grant the right to use violence without punishment to someone else. As soon as we started to contemplate about people in the past, and I'm speaking from the perspective of Europe after it finally met the world, we began to look for this type of state everywhere. And wherever and whenever something matching the parameters was found, it was declared a proper period of history. Like the three kingdoms of Egypt, everything what came before, between and after had been times in which people had prepared themselves to finally get or to return to this point, the state. Often enough, though, the facts found in the ground didn't support such a finding, and so discussions are still ongoing today about whether something or the else is a state or not, or perhaps statish. Wengrow and Graeber in their book The Dawn of Everything, which I totally love because it's based on the idea that we need to change the perspective when we look at the past, or everything really, recommended not to look for the parameters of state sovereignty as we know it, but to use a lens of three elementary principles of domination in its place: control of violence, what's the classical definition of sovereignty, control of knowledge, and charismatic politics. This surely erases the binarity of a decision, as it creates a spectrum of sorts, a hierarchy with first level, second level, and third level states on it. What makes sorting easier? But what's the reason why we sort the way people organize themselves at all? And why on this scale? Looking at when the three kingdoms of Egypt appeared and why might give us a hint. The division was proposed in the, wait for it, late 19th century by Egyptologists, in particular by Persian scholars, who needed arguments for the creation of a unified nation state, because that was a concern of their time and their place. Until 1871, Germany wasn't a state, but a regrag, which the present king and financer of these scholars wanted to unify under his leadership. The nation-state, as understood by Europeans then, needed to be represented as the gold standard to how people organize themselves, as something all humans independently of each other strive toward creating. To widen the picture and consider the mental state of all Europeans, in particular the Europeans in power, imagine the pressure they suddenly felt due to the discovery that the European way of organizing society wasn't the only possible one, as they had been told and found. It took the Uber explorers a moment to realize that they had to defend their identity once more, a moment in which ideas streamed into Europe which promoted exploration over exploitation. But when they found their spin, these Uber explorers, their new spin about standards in the way humans organize, and the proposed gold standard of a state that Europeans had not only to defend, but spread around the globe along with the gospel. It's a made-up standard, proven by the fact that it promotes a way of organizing that works against nature, because it promotes a way of organizing centered on exploiting of existing knowledge. Just as bodies are made up of cells, any collective is made up of humans. Where cells merge, humans only cooperate. They do not submit to one will, they work out between each other a common goal. Why? And this is an important question to ask when it comes to the inert human urge to cooperate, because the way our cells have come together, we could survive as individuals. We could only come together to make babies and then go our own ways again. So why have we developed to cooperate in the first place? Obviously, simple survival was never the goal. The goal was the best possible survival. The best possible survival requires the best possible problem-solving capabilities. The most profitable searches that lead to the best problem-solving are random searches. Exploration. Random searches are as well the most risky searches for an individual when conducted alone. It takes the cooperation of large collectives to offset the risk for the individual member. We therefore feel the urge to cooperate and create huge networks for the same reason our cells once merged and developed a nervous system that developed consciousness, to enable each other to predominantly explore and enjoy the profits a randomized search provides. Hence, if we want to evaluate forms of self-organization throughout time and space, the skill to use is the explore-exploit balance. The sweet spot for a perfect society that promises the most profit for all would be located quite far on the explore side, but not at the far end point of the spectrum, because a certain amount of exploitation of existing knowledge, standardized work, is inevitable. And no one can be excluded from this standardized work because that creates a sense of power in that person, which interferes with mirroring. The basis of our urge to cooperate, because a person who doesn't mirror will always consider an exploring person as lazy, unreliable, and in need of supervision. The prerequisite to reach and remain at this spot on the explore-exploit balance is sharing. Goods and knowledge, all information, to the point that every single member of a collective is unafraid to go out and explore at any given moment, not to the point of total equality. That, and only that, is where the high profit of a random search comes from. Innumerable perspectives from which the available data is interpreted and reinterpreted. To sort, you measure things like access to information and the permission to interpret, but also the availability of time and other resources to engage in exploration and the interconnectedness of people. On this scale, European-style nation-states of the late 19th century in a Judeo-Christian tradition, which have become the norm today through conquest, are very far removed from the ideal. While a civilization like the Olmec, from which Mesopotamian cultures like the Aztec and the Maya developed, but also a strong independence streak, already showed some signs of interpretation sovereignty in the hand of a few, but was overall far more explorative and therefore closer to the ideal point. Explore, also known as think. Make a habit out of thinking. Let's turn thinking into the norm again. Like, comment, share, and follow, lest you miss a single opportunity to improve yourself and society. Once you do, we'll meet again at the coffee pot.